some guy named Stampylongnose came into my chat. I thought you were going back to like, Stampy stuff.
Oh, go on, Jake.
Oh,
Perfect.
okay.
Thank you, Danny is the bomb.
Speaking of Stampy, Danny, we know you've worked for Stampy in the past.
You used to be a sea lion.
Well, I wouldn't say
Can
worked
you tell us about
for,
that?
I'd say worked
with.
Yeah,
So,
done stuff with.
can you talk about that a little bit?
So the first video I ever made, I started off Minecraft. I loved recreating stuff.
Mhm.
And it was at a point in my life where it was later on, and I wasn't, I liked recreating Stampy's world, but I wasn't because I was desperate to know what was going to happen with William Beaver. It was just because I like recreating, and he was someone I watched, so I decided to kind of go along with that. And I followed the dude who made tutorials on it, but eventually he stopped, and I was like, I don't know how to do this anymore. But I was like, what if I just try it on my own? And I kind of took it off from there. And I was like, well, I guess I can do this. So I ended up recreating. I'm an insane detail freak. So if you saw the world I recreated, every piece
Stampy is lovelier world. House update.
His every torch and piece of tall grass would be up to date. That's how freakish I was.
Jeez.
What?
So I did that, and I started making videos on that. I found someone with like 200 subscribers, and I ended up recording with him.
The whole world, or like, because they cut
Pausing,
right?
just pausing a bunch of times.
Do they not cut a lot though? Like,
No,
surely
everything
you have to
he does
go
is
back-
everything he does is uncut.
Oh,
There's still a lot of stuff that you don't see, but I'll
like
get
stuff
into.
like far away. Like, how would you remember that?
He's
in
waiting
case
until he
something
gets
changed?
closer, I guess.
I don't even know. It's just trying to look through everything and get the angles.
So you're a massive Stampylongnose world fanboy.
Well, not at this point in my life, but at that point, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
the boys, yeah.
So I'll kind of get into that at a point. So I continued on with that, and then it got to a point where I was trying to evolve my content past just tutorial, or the content I was doing with the person. So we decided to make this thing called the Improved Stampy's World at the time. And so basically taking an aspect of it and improving it. It was something I did on stream when I had about 10 viewers or so. It was fun. I enjoyed, taking what his outdated stuff and trying to improve it and make him better. And after a bunch of times of doing that, eventually I was streaming it, and some guy named Stampylongnose came into my chat. And I had 10 people. And he was like, I was like, wait a second, is this real? And I checked, and I saw I guess 8 or 9 million subscribers at the time. And I was like, oh,
screaming and throwing up.
I actually didn't start screaming. I was like, oh, hi. Hello. And he's like, this world is like really cool. He proceeded to link it on his Twitter. I went up to like 70 viewers, which at the time was like, oh my gosh. I was at 10. I didn't know how to handle it. And then he said, hey, can I come join it? So he joined an Xbox party, and he came into the world, and he looked around at the kind of stuff we did. I had like a smaller team of people, but I was always there because I owned the world. And from that point, I actually hit 1,000 subscribers with Stampylongnose on the old channel. On my current channel, I eventually moved on from that one and started my own because it was with someone. But
what is the old channel?
The name has changed, so you're not gonna find it. And
what's the name?
Yeah, not gonna get into it.
What's the name?
No.
Okay.
However, he was there I was talking to him, but I had 1,000 subscribers for the first time with the other person. So that was pretty surreal. And that point, he was like, I don't remember. It was still called the Improved thing at that time. And he's like, if you finish this or finish what we're doing, I'll tour it. I'll tour it on my channel or something. So I was like, oh, in like 3 weeks, we like worked like tons of hours. Like if you know his kind of town area, we basically went through and did like 8 of those a day or so, working on those and just trying to get it done. And eventually it was hard to schedule with him because the way I contacted him is at that point, he followed me on Twitter and all that stuff. So he still does to this day. And I had him added on Discord at this point. That was later on stuff. But we ended up scheduling a time for him to tour, and he called it the Lovelier World. And then from that point on, that kind of happened, and a million people saw that. And I met a lot of people that I still know today, which is cool. Even though overall it didn't really do much for my channel, because we got up to like 3K subscribers from that, which you'd expect a lot more if someone like with 10 million shouted you out. But yeah.
So what's
then,
in the end then?
Yeah, I guess a lot of his audience didn't, he literally, his download link in the description went directly to my video. And I got like 20K views on that. And that's less than I could get on my own now from him. So yeah, so that kind of is how all that came to be, and then it got to a point where I was doing that and Hive content, and then when I was building a bigger Hive audience, it just got awkward. My most successful thing was it was called Build the Lovelier Funland, where I was improving the Funland. He's the one that called it Lovelier, like I said, so we just rolled with it, and I just eventually stopped it. He did do like a final tour in 2021, but at that point, it just got awkward when my Hive audience was growing bigger, and they were like, "What is this?" So then I officially converted.
So
Stampy's still continuing his world, right?
yeah.
No,
It's still the same world. That's mad.
well, he's continuing, but I'm not. He
yeah.
What
I'm
character
surprised
did
it's
you play
still
again?
working.
Wait, what was that? Sorry,
What character were you again? And
I never played a character. He just toured my. I know who the characters were, but
Oh, I could have sworn you played a character.
no, I just spoke to him a few times. I did get to go into his world itself for recreating purposes,
Oh,
which honestly most people would be their dream, but for me, since I recreated all of it, it didn't feel that special. It was just cool to get like things that you wouldn't be able to see otherwise.
Oh,
I took a
always
bunch of
thought
notes
it
and stuff.
was- I always
Yeah.
thought you were like acting as one of the people. So that's
No,
what
I
I
didn't.
might be wrong. 'Cause that's like a whole
Yeah.
piece of information.
My experience with him is recording with him and him being, getting to see how he makes his thumbnail and all this stuff, which isn't that elaborate. It's just like, how he does it and all this stuff.
Just like a screenshot of him.
It is. It is, but like he puts like the glowstone behind the character and he's like makes him move exactly how he wants it, and yeah.